Okay, so it's Wednesday already, so if I'm starting this reading vlog, I better actually start it. So far this week's just going kind of boring because I've been focusing on this website, work-related thing. Who knows if it's going to really turn into anything, but I've been spending some time on that, reminding myself why I am not a web developer. But anyway, let's talk about reading, because this is a reading vlog. I am reading 2 books at the moment. Firstly, I started Arrival by Ted Chiang, and I said this is the book about the movie, but that's not really what it is at all. This was a short story anthology called something. Wait, it says in here somewhere, I think. Oh, yes, Stories of Your Life and Others. So, each one is a little short story, and I'm not sure actually which one the movie is based off, and I haven't seen the movie, so it'll be fun trying to guess. So far, I have read the first 3 stories. I will say that some of these get a bit mathsy, so if you're not a fan, not really, but if you really hate maths, you're probably not going to like this. So the first one was about these miners going up this tower that had been being built for centuries, and it's going up to heaven, and then the miners are going to try and dig their way into the vaults of heaven. The second one was about this guy who gets given this drug, and it makes him super, super smart. The next one is about this woman who discovers this mathematical principle and it ruins her life and she tries to commit suicide, so trigger warnings for suicide. And that's as far as I've got. I'm absolutely loving it. The first 3 were amazing. I'm also making the effort this time to read these stories separated, because often I read short story anthologies all at once, and I think especially when it's kind of sciencey based short stories, you need to take some breathing space and some reflection space between each story. So I've been making the effort to do that, and I think it's really helping. As well as reading this, though, I'm reading this in my reflection time and other times. So this is kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, except Indian mythology. So she's just discovered that she's the reincarnation of the Hand of Kali, and there's demons and she's fighting them. This is self-published, I think. I assume so. And you can kind of tell. It's YA, and I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting this to be YA. And I haven't been reading a lot of YA lately because I'm quite fussy with what YA I still relate to now that I am a lot older than the YA demographic. But yeah, this isn't amazing. I'm trying to be very lenient with it as we go through it, so we'll see how we go. As well as that, I am also listening to the audiobook of Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. So this is the second book in the Percy Jackson series, and I have seen a few people lately saying that they thought the second book was better than the first book. I'm not sure I agree, although it's been so long that I read the first book that I can't really be sure. It's fine. It's fine, but it doesn't seem like it's anything amazing. I've only got 40 minutes left to go, and I just... there's bits that I liked, but overall it's just fine. I guess it's a middle grade, so this is not the demographic for me either. However, the other audiobook that I'm going to be reading after I finish this is also fitting the theme of Greek mythology. So I've got the audiobook of Lovely War by Julie Berry, and this is a story about, I believe it's Aphrodite has been caught having an affair with Ares, and she's telling this romance story set during World War II, World War one of the world wars. Anyway, it's a historical romance, which 100% doesn't sound like something I would like. However, I do like Greek mythology, and I have seen a lot of people saying that it's really great, so I'm gonna try it. It's an audiobook, so I always have plenty of time for listening to audiobooks, so I'll give it a go. And I'm hoping I can get through all of those this week. Good morning! So I've just driven over to the other side of Auckland because I'm going to the hospital this morning for my infusion. Just a regular thing I have because of my Crohn's disease. I've talked about it before, but of course I'm always happy to answer any questions about that if you have them. But let me update you. So I finished off Percy Jackson, and I will say the last 10 minutes made me very excited to read the next book. Also, I feel like in my last clip I was a bit like jaded about it, but I do really like the way it incorporates Greek mythology into the story, and I think if I'd read this when I was much younger, I would have been absolutely in love with it. I did also really like Tyson, who is a new character introduced in this book, so that is another good thing. People are driving past and that's awkward. So then after, oh my goodness, everyone keeps driving. Why? This is like a back road. No one should be here. So then after that I did, oh my goodness, why are so many people driving past? I need to just brave it out and keep talking. They probably won't even notice me as they drive past. So then after I finished Percy Jackson, I started listening to The Lovely War. I really like the bits with the Greek mythology. So Hephaestus has caught out Aphrodite and Ares having an affair, and now she's going to tell this love story. The actual love story, like in the beginning I was enjoying it because I do quite like the writing style, but the love story just goes on, and it was really boring me. However, just as I was driving over here, it did introduce a new character, a black musician, and it's kind of touching on themes of police brutality and racism, so still very relevant, even though this is a story set in, oh my goodness, I still don't even know which war because I still haven't been paying attention. I don't care about war, so I'm not paying attention to that bit, but anyway, I will keep listening to that. And then also, last night I read the story in here that I think The Arrival is based on. So it's called Story of Your Life. It's about this linguist who's trying to figure out this alien language. But it's also like interspersed through the story is these bits about her daughter, and it's all written in future tense, which is just super interesting because you hardly ever get anything written in future tense. And I'm really interested to watch the movie now because I just don't really know how it would capture that same feeling. Anyway, I'm going to take this into my infusion and read another story, as well as I'll probably play some Animal Crossing, and then I'll see you guys later. Hello, so after my infusion we had a little bit of sunshine and I went and enjoyed that with Jace, but now we are back to thunderstorms and rain, which is not that great, but I should be able to get some more reading done. Let's update on where I'm up to with my reading. I have been listening to more of Lovely War. I've got 4 hours to go. I have to say, I'm really bored. I want to like it. The writing style is good. The themes of racism and how awful war is dealt with in a good way, and I suppose if you like reading about war and you like romance, then I can see why those people are enjoying this, but mostly I'm just really bored. I don't really care about any of the things that are happening, and I like the bits with the Greek gods, but there's not enough of that. And also, like, Aphrodite is supposed to be trying to prove to Hephaestus that there's a reason why she's having this affair with Ares, but so far, I can't see how the story is going to prove that. And I think the way that it brings in the different gods to tell different parts of the story just seems kind of pointless. I don't know. I got a few more hours to go, so we'll see if my mind changes by the end of it. I did also read the next story of this short story anthology, which was called 72 Letters. I have to say this one was a bit taxing on my brain, but in the end I did really like it, but maybe not as much as some of the other ones just because it was a lot, and so it's hard to describe it, but it's kind of about, I think it's Jewish mythology where there's these clay golems that they write special names in Hebrew and put them in the golem, and that brings the golem to life. So it's kind of that, except then they take that and turn it into a science, and then as well they discover that humanity really only has about 5 more generations in them and then they're going to die out, but they're using this golem name-based science in order to try and fix that. It's looking at the intersection between science and politics, so it's a good story, but whew, it was hard to read. Still, I'm really enjoying this anthology, and I've got 3 more stories to read, I think. So, oh, 2 more. Wait, can I count? I can't count. Oh, 3. 3 more stories to read, so I should be able to finish this by the end of the weekend, and I'm gonna try and get some more of this done as well. Although right now I'm gonna take some of this and apply it to this and see if we can like camouflage all my grey hair. And I was watching some of my old reading vlogs where I had blonde hair, and I like it better than this. So we're going back to that. I still can't probably go crazy colours because what is my work situation, but I think I'm going to do this anyway. This is my new hair colour. I really could have done with some toner, and I kind of find it hilarious how much bluey green there is at the bottom, because it's been over 6 months since I put any blue or green hair dye in my hair, but it's sticking around. So I haven't decided if I'll try and fix it up anymore. I might try and chop some bits off. I don't know, but this is what we've got. I have successfully covered up my greys for now at least. Score. Reading wise, so what have I done? I finished off Lovely War. Had I done that last time I talked to you? If I had, I'll delete this. But I finished it. I found it really boring. Do you know I have my vlog here? Let me just look and see if I said anything about that. Oh no, it's crashed. Wow, everything's going super great. Actually, so things are going great. For this channel, I've actually just hit 500 subscribers, which is pretty cool. I was in the past planning that when I got to 500 subscribers, I'd do some kind of giveaway, but as I'm unemployed right now, that's not going to happen. But I think I might try and make you guys some things. Like, it's better than a giveaway because then everybody has access to it. I don't know whether it'll be something that everyone will want, but I'm going to try and put something together, and then I'll put that probably down in the description. You know, while I wait for this to load, I'll say also I'm wearing my glasses because my contacts messed up. So lots of things not so great today, but also some great things. Okay, so I hadn't finished Lovely War last time I talked to you. I finished it. Overall, just kind of boring. I mean, it did kind of have a point in the end, but for the most part, the story just didn't have anything particularly unique about it. A tiny bit. It just, in the beginning, Aphrodite is bringing in these other gods, and she's like, help me tell the story. You know, that story. And I just don't feel like this would have been the most significant story that the gods knew that they needed to talk about. I do think people who like historical war stories with lots of romance will probably like it. It is well written, but just not for me. What was for me was this. So I finished reading this and I realized why I kept counting. So I never finished this. I'm a liar. I'll go and finish this straight after this. But there was a really tiny little short story called The Evolution of Human Science, which was really just about like a new species of human that had superseded our current humanity, but then current humanity still existing. It was weird, but it was cool. Then I read Hell is the Absence of God, which was this amazing story where heaven and hell are quite concrete concepts. Like you can sometimes see down into hell or sometimes see people in heaven, so you know people are actually going there. And also angels regularly visit. When they visit, they often kill people, but also miraculously cure people. And afterwards there's like statistics of all the different kind of outcomes of people, and we mainly follow this guy whose wife died when an angel visited. It was very strange but really interesting. The one that I haven't quite finished because I forgot I hadn't quite finished it is Liking What You See, a documentary, which is about this technology that's being developed that sort of takes away people's ability to see beauty. So you can still see people, but you can't tell whether they're attractive or not. And it's basically just the perspectives of lots of different people who've had some contact with this technology and what they think this technology's impact is on people's perception of beauty. So like, even though I'm only halfway through the story, I feel like I've already gotten so much from it, which is why I didn't realize that I hadn't finished the story, because it's not really a story. Anyway, I'm gonna go and finish that probably now. I will also say for this, I think I've decided that I'm gonna DNF it. I'm kind of sad about it because I've had this around for ages and I do want to support the author, but I'm just not enjoying it. It's not terribly written, but it's not amazing, and like the premise of it being like Buffy the Vampire Slayer but Indian mythology is really cool, especially like the goddess Kali is such an interesting concept, but I just don't feel like that is really being used like it could. I don't see it doing anything exciting with that concept. I read some reviews and it seems like it ends on a cliffhanger, so I'm just gonna DNF it. I'll give it to a thrift shop and then maybe someone else will love it. It's a shame it has my name in it, but never mind. Anyway, I'm gonna go and finish this. Okay, so I've actually finished this now, and I have to say, I really loved this book. I think that this is probably the first short story anthology ever that I think deserves 5 stars. Every single story made me think about the world in a different way, and it was just so interesting. I did also realize that the last story I was talking about has some parallels with racism. If you think about people who think that not being racist means not seeing color or not seeing race, and these people who are getting themselves blinded to beauty, kind of having that same experience as people who say they don't see race. But near the end, this woman does give this speech, and she says, all the discrimination you hate could be taking place without you even realizing. If you want to fight discrimination, keep your eyes open. And it's really interesting to think about all the different arguments in this story from the perspective of racism instead of like beauty and image. It probably doesn't all relate, but it's still an interesting way to think about it. Also, like, that story was just so amazing in the way that he brought in so many different perspectives on the same idea. Honestly, this book, or it's called, what did I say it's called? Stories of Your Life and Others. If you can get your hands on a short story anthology and you like weird stories about strange ideas, this is it. You should read it. I did also forget to say just before, I started reading Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters, one of those. I started reading that this morning. I really liked the prologue, I assume it was. I'm listening to it, so I'm not reading it. It jumps straight into a big battle and there's dragons and it was really cool. But then we start following this other character, and to be honest, I'm just confused why we're following the most boring character in the whole story. There are these women that have these amazing abilities, including the abilities to call dragons, and I think there's some men as well who can do this like rage thing, but we're just following this boring guy instead. But I haven't got very far into it, so we'll see how we go. I do think the writing is very good, so I am hopeful still. Otherwise, I think that is going to be it for this vlog because it's Sunday night and that's all we're going to have for this week. Obviously, my favourite book of the week was this, with Percy Jackson probably being the second best, since Lovely War was a little bit of a disappointment and I DNF'd this one. So a half and half kind of week. I do hope that you are doing well despite the fact that our world has a lot of problems. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time.